Yeah, I'm on the phantom shores of the ghostly Hudson River. I've been at this spot before in a video. This is actually a spot where Benedict Arnold and Major Andre screwed over, gave away some secrets. Messed up, but there's an hour and a half there of show that's pretty dope, and I wanted to give you guys a brief update on some of the information that I just posted on my Patreon. Now, I'm making new breakthroughs of ancient knowledge, and it's really important that people understand what's happening on the planet and what I feel is transpiring bases on our planet of these ancient Rephaim, these ancient bloodlines, dragon bloodlines, if you want to say. And I do feel that it's linked to demonic possession, especially of dark sexual nature, pornography and everything, the dark pornography and dark violence that's on the computer, that's like making these open gateways into your home themselves, not only within your, but over time embed themselves within the coding of your very DNA and change who you are. And if you die without being purified of that and cleansed of that, and if it's even possible after a certain amount of time, then I do believe that you become like these disembodied Rephaim, like these dark ones, like these dark spirits that are out there. There's also hybrid humans that become disembodied hybrid human spirits, and they possess the minds of people. Sometimes it happens slowly over 20 years. It starts as a dark whisper in your ear, trying to pollute your mind with bad thoughts. And if it's not recognized and dealt with and fought, it can take over and snowball over the individual. And that's why these tensor tools that we're using, certain things that we're creating to make these force fields, that you can make a force field of intention to keep a guard around your home from any of this activity. Once you anoint and cleanse your home, then you can guard it and guard yourself from any pollution of your mind, because it's out there coming at us in all directions. I found interesting information within Hasidic and Kabbalistic literature, and it's what I didn't get into on my show on Truth Frequency Radio in the last segment. The first half of the show, I talked about a lot of this information. I even talked about some of the resurrection miracles that were performed by Jesuits, like Saint Francis Xavier and Ignatius Loyola and those guys. I mean, these guys were doing dark things, man. And it's not a coincidence that, if you guys know anything about the Ignatius Loyola, and I think Saint Francis Xavier, had these spiritual exercises where they would do these friggin', hardcore stuff, man. And not only mentally but physically, and they pushed themselves to the limit spiritually, and they received higher knowledge this way, and they received the deep things were activated within their consciousness and who they were. You're raising people from the dead that were dead and buried for 3 days, so explain that one. But in Kabbalistic and Hasidic literature, I found some really interesting information that I do believe is related to the disembodied spirits of the Rephaim, and most of these encounters and possessions end up being sexual of nature. And it's to take the seed, it's to take the womb and create an army, a furious horde, like they call them in Italian witchcraft, in Italian shamanism, and in Italian courtroom testimonies from the Inquisition and from the 1500s and 1600s. They talked about what they call the furious horde, which is basically what they would call like an army of childlike demon spirits that the Italians believed, the ancient Italians believed that the Roman Catholic Church was saying that it's probably the children that weren't baptized. They're when they die, if they died without being baptized or something like that, or if they died being like out of wedlock, a child out of wedlock that died when it was young, they become sort of like a demonic spirit in the netherworld that they called the furious horde. But I do believe that it's not on mainstream now. They use the spelling like Dybbuq, but I think it's actually spelled Dibbuq, and or the Dibbuqim. And these recorded history. Hey, what's up? I hope I'm coming in clear. But if you look at literature, Kabbalistic literature of Dibbuq possession, is like a male spirit possessing a female human. Now, there's more information about this on my Patreon a few minutes ago. So if you're not already a subscriber, seriously, there's higher platforms where I send out presents that that they can get, but you can literally join for as low as $2 a month and appreciate somebody subscribing for more money to support me, because there's it's really hard times out there for everybody. But definitely support me at Patreon if you guys like my information. And I put a lot of articles on there every week, and a lot of hard decades of research goes, and it's spelled. This is like a group of prayers or spells, if you can even say, that they recite for, I think there's like a group of 4 of them, where one of them is for unifying what they would call God and the Shekinah. Now, I don't want to get into too much about that right now, because I have my opinions of what the God and the Shekinah might be actually, and but one of them is for that, for unifying the God and Shekinah. Another one is for removing Dibbuqs, removing possessions of evil from the individual that's possessed. Removing Yihudim, or Yehud, I guess plural. So the third kind is like these crazy, extremely difficult, hard mental exercises. It's like mental gymnastics, where they use divine words like names of angels and names of God, and they recite them in all possible, they make them all into one, all possible ways into one. It's almost like a quantum computing. It's almost like superpositioning and quantum tunneling, or whatever it's called. It's like almost like a supercomputer way of thinking. They do these like complicated mental exercises using divine names. And hope I'm still there. They have made our human race, and the God in the Shekinah possibly might be the head of the fallen angels that they're looking at as God in Kabbalistic literature. It might be Semyaz or Azazel or Satan type, and he's looking for his wife, his Shekinah. He's looking to make children. He's looking to unify and rule. So definitely it's worth researching more and using your own judgment on what you feel. But to me, a supreme being, God, what I would call God, which is in everything, it's not a person that can have a wife. It's more of a consciousness. So if something is talking about unifying with its queen and all of this, I do think it's more like what I was mentioning, just prior. So I hope this video is actually coming through. If not, I can record it again. I don't know if it's like going in and out. What's up, whoever's out there? How we doing out there? It's a beautiful day. Look at these mountains over here. They call some of this Indian's chair too over there, how these mountains go. It does look like the backbone of a huge serpent that petrified. Look at all these mountains though, it goes all the way around. Hey, blue. I have heard beings. Yeah, no, it's probably on this end. And get some interference in my videos when I do them live. And in order for me, I literally have to do pre-records. And I was live here on the... But, yeah, this is probably like a couple 100 years old, this tree right here. Because... But this spot now, it's like a pretend at the spot, and they became here. Between it first met Major John Andre, General of the British Army, to plan for the surrender of West Point to the British. Andre landed from the Vulture the evening of the... It's like all friggin' messed up, you can't even read it. Evening of July 21st, 1739. Early the following morning, the conspirators repaired to the... I can't read that. Repaired to the home of Joshua something, but this is the spot where Benedict Arnold and Major Andre
Carlos Rivera in his hometown